there is an academic calendar that kind of has KV's stuff on it. You can get to that from the homepage. I am wondering if I can show you by sharing my screen.
You should be able
Uh,
to.
let me give it a let me give that a whirl.
We see the KV homepage.
Homepage,
Okay,
yeah, just the
good.
homepage.
All right. Are you seeing my cursor kind of
Yep.
dancing around? Beautiful. I'm in the right homepage. Thank goodness. All right. Welcome to the KV homepage. If you hover over academics, you'll see that it's got two columns. On the left-hand side, you have the second one down, academic calendar. You click on that, and it lists the last 3 years. So the one that we're coming into is the 2020-2021. You click on that, and then voila. What's nice about this is it also has the holidays on it as well. Like that November 11th always amazes students that we're shut down that day. It's a national holiday, so you shouldn't have classes or class meetings on that date. So that's just something to consider. But this is a nice little reference. I usually when we're offering Push Live, we print off multiple copies of this so that everyone has this in their folder. I don't think we did that this year, so they were kind of late in putting this together and getting it out to us. They've made some changes like that October break, that extra day off in October. I They've never done that in the time that I've been here. We've always had a long weekend for November for Thanksgiving, but October, it was simply the 12th that we would have off. So I wanted to point that out to you guys to make that a little bit easier. I'm going to try to just load my financial aid PowerPoint here. Financial Aid 101, what all students should know about federal aid. All right. Applying for financial aid. I believe everyone that's on this call has been successful navigating the FAFSA.gov site. Yay. You want to log in. This is something that needs to be done annually, and it's not uncommon for brand new students to think, I took care of that. Like I have some students that are direct from high school. I took care of that, or my mom took care of it with the guidance office help. When I was in high school, I'm all set with that, but this is something that you have to renew annually. And like Landy had said, the application for the next academic year comes out in October now instead of January, making it easier for students to be able to access it sooner than later. The tough part is if you're brand new coming in January, sometimes you get confused and you complete next year's application instead of this year's application. So the more they try to make changes to improve things, sometimes the more it can be confusing. Like Landy also mentioned in her year at a glance, to maximize things, you do want to try and get your application in before May 1st. The big issue with that is in order to be considered for the Maine State Grant, the deadline to be considered is May 1st. They vote on this annually through the legislature. It's casino money, I believe, is what's fueling it. But ultimately, it's remained about $1,500 per year for a full-time Pell eligible student. So Pell, I think annually right now, meaning for a student, 12 credits, both fall and spring, is a little over $6,000, and you'd get an additional $1,500 on top of that. So it really is worth the time and effort to get it taken care of sooner than later, so that you're not leaving any money on the table. What the heck is this FAFSA thing? FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Completing the application provides a snapshot of your current financial circumstances based on prior year information. And this is a fancy way, and this is how the government looks at it, is it used to be based on the most recent tax filing year, but a couple of years ago, they switched over to prior year, meaning they go back 2 years. So for us coming into the 2020 academic year, we're looking at 2018 income. And with COVID going on, that may or may not be an accurate snapshot. So I think in your overview to your student orientation, there's slides explaining a little bit about financial aid, and they talk about contacting the financial aid office to ask about a professional judgment if your income or your financial circumstances have changed significantly since your original filing back in 2018. If that's your situation, I would recommend reaching out to them. If you received feedback from your application on the FAFSA that you were a 0 EFC, which means expected family contribution is $0, you don't need to bother to file a professional judgment request, because you're already being considered for the maximum amount. I may have been ahead of myself here. Let's see. Do I file as a dependent or independent? You are dependent if you are under the age of 24 and not married and not supporting a dependent at least 50% of the time. If you qualify as a dependent, you must provide your parents' tax information. You are independent if you are 24 years of age or older, married, or supporting a dependent at least 50% of the time. If you qualify as an independent, you only need to provide your tax information and your spouse's information as well. What kinds of aid can I get? Completing the FAFSA allows you to be considered for 3 types of aid. Pell Grant, this is the free money that you do not have to pay back. There's always some strings attached, and we can talk in more detail about that. It isn't completely free. They expect you to earn a grade for it. Scholarships, this is also money that you do not have to pay back, but there may be certain strings attached to that as well. Further applications or other additional requirements may be needed. Student loans, you do need to pay these back. The most desirable types of aid are grants and scholarships. If you do need to take loan money out, and a number of our students do, the first choice is taking the subsidized loans. Second choice is taking the unsubsidized loans. I want to see if I've got I think I explained it in more detail. Pell Grants, most common needs-based financial assistance for college students. It's designed to help a student earn a bachelor's degree, AKA 4-year degree. But as you're experiencing, you're able to receive it to apply towards your associate's degree. But when it was first created, they worked it out with the plan and intention of helping to support a student in earning a 4-year degree. Pell Grants, Pell Grant limits, current maximum annual award for a full-time Pell eligible student is $6,195. There is a lifetime limit to the number of semesters a student can receive Pell, and that's 12 full-time semesters. Conditions on Pell Grants. There's measures of keeping you in good standing. And trust me when I say it's easier to help you stay in good standing than when you fall out of good standing and trying to help you get back in. But it is doable. And I would say that collectively, we are experts on this subject. So don't be afraid to ask, and don't be ashamed. If things go belly up for you, try to reach out to us. Don't, withdraw and stay silent. We want to help you, educate you on what your options are and how to get things back on track for you. So SAP stands for Satisfactory Academic Progress. You must successfully complete 67% of all courses you register for. If your SAP drops below 67%, you will be put on financial aid probation. I believe they still give you 1 semester of grace and an opportunity to get things back up before you're having to file an appeal letter. 150% of time, you are allowed up to 150% of the credits required to complete your program. The example here is if your program requires 60 credits, you can receive aid for up to 90 credits. The way I like to explain this is the federal government isn't expecting perfection. It allows you some wiggle room to make missteps. It also allows you a little bit of wiggle room to maybe go down one program path of study and realize that, ooh, maybe I wasn't meant to be X. I'm more interested in, I'm doing well in Y. So I think I'm going to change my major. That was the case for myself. I attended college direct from high school. My Y was not honed in like it needed to be, but it got me to college. I chose pursuing a seat in nursing out of honor of my mom that passed away when I was 15 years old. She always wanted to become a nurse. She was a CNA for many years. And in her memory, that's what I wanted to do, or so I thought. So I ended up acquiring a bunch of science courses that I ended up getting a minor in science, and I majored in behavioral sciences and eventually got my master's as a marriage and family therapist. And here I am teaching for TRIO. So I went down the rabbit hole a little bit, but hopefully that helped you out a little bit or taught you a little bit more about me. If you add or drop a class during the add drop period, the amount of aid you receive will be adjusted for the number of credits you are taking. This sometimes paints students into a corner. They feel like in order to get the full amount of financial assistance, they need to be full-time, but this can be a slippery slope. You sometimes can end up biting off more than you can chew, and then you get yourself into hot water academically as well as with financial aid. Don't be afraid to reach out to us, and we can try and help you look at what your options are. Sometimes the dollars and cents seems overwhelming, but when, you know, I've pointed out to students the difference between being full-time versus three-quarter time, taking that pressure off can really make a difference. And the loss of funds isn't as great as you might believe. So I knew we had something about subsidized.
Yep.
I've already mentioned this, but it's worth mentioning again. Student loans may be subsidized or unsubsidized. You need a minimum of 6 credits required to be able to access loan money. Repayment is typically deferred until you have been out of school for 6 months, unless you've already started to dip into your grace period. Subsidized loans are the government pays the interest while you are attending. Students who qualify for Pell Grants generally qualify for this type of loan. Unsubsidized, you are responsible for making payments on the loan interest during all periods of this type of loan. Students who do not qualify for Pell Grants usually need to take out this type of loan. Some students will take out both. You only need to do the entrance counseling one time to be able to access loans. You do need to sign off that you want loans, and you need to complete the promissory note, which is a fancy way of saying the loan document. What if I fail or withdraw from a class? If you fail or withdraw from one class but successfully complete the rest of your courses that semester, Pell Grants and loans, you will not be penalized. Scholarships, each one has its own set of rules and regulations, so make sure you know them. Sometimes I'll meet students that have received scholarships from their time in high school, and they need to present a copy of their transcript at the end of the semester. There's a specific address that was listed on the scholarship material. We have the Embark program, which is a Maine community college system program that assists direct from high school students. And there's requirements, meeting requirements that go along with that, as well as expectations of being full-time. We have students that are being sponsored by the Career Center that have similar expectations placed on them. So these are things that we're aware of as well, and it can be overwhelming as a brand new student to kind of know the rules about this stuff. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for assistance with it. If we can answer the questions, we will. If we can't, we'll help you get connected with those that can. Lisa had mentioned the Hope Scholarship. This is something new. I want to give a shout out to Jordan Sullivan. She sat in on the working committee that put together how that Hope program was going to be rolled out. So snaps to Jordan for her time and commitment to that. So carrying on. If you fail or withdraw from all of your courses in a semester, Pell Grants and loans, you may be required to pay back the aid you received for that semester. If you are required to pay back aid, you will not be allowed to register for courses until it is repaid. So if you recall the questionnaire that we had each and every one of you complete, there was a section in there that asked you like what our expectations are of you. It's we want to help you to understand these rules. And one of the big ones that really breaks my heart is I'll have students that won't reach out. They'll stop out and then they owe the college a whomping bill before they can come back. And we can avoid this by working with you and helping you to understand it. So please, please don't be afraid to reach out. If you are new and you can't remember who your TRIO advisor, who you were assigned to, you can simply email trio@kvcc, and that blasts all of us, and one of us will reach out to you and give you a hand. All right, so don't suffer in silence. It's what we do. It's what we're here for. Remember, TRIO is here to help. Don't let yourself end up in hot water with financial aid. Check with your TRIO advisor before you withdraw from a course. Talking to someone about money issues can be uncomfortable, but we can't help you if we don't know what's going on. I often say, I'm good, but I am not a mind reader. Communication with your TRIO advisor is crucial. And Landy loves putting this in. Michelle is the financial aid guru. If you need help with the FAFSA, ask her. And I'm happy to help with explaining the process, helping you to get connected with other resources. If you've, gotten flagged for verification, tends to be the one that presents the most challenge. That and forgetting your FSA ID username and password is the other thing. I think there's one more slide that shows a few links to resources. Finance Authority of Maine is the one that I oftentimes reach out to. They are wonderful, and they're geared up now to help support students and the parents complete the applications and are willing to meet online. I also have the FAFSA.gov link here, and this is as a reminder to you folks that you want to use the .gov. There's a .com, a FAFSA.com site that looks a lot like the .gov site. But at the end of it, after you've entered all kinds of personal information, it asks for a credit card to submit the application for you, and it's a scam. So don't be fooled by that. Questions? Thank you for pitch hitting for me, Landy.
No worries.
Much appreciation.
Actually, I do have a question. Right now, I am set with my financial aid for this semester and next semester. Next semester. When I resubmit in October, is that going to change my spring allowance, or will it still stay the same for this year?
Yeah, what you've received is for this year. And that academic year starts the 31st of August and runs through next summer, okay? So what you've parceled out, if you're full-time for the fall, half of it's going to the fall, the other half's going to be allotted to the spring. Let's say you decide not to be full-time in the spring, you'd have a little extra to carry over into the summer if you wanted to take a summer class. If you end up being full-time both fall and spring, and you don't have carryover for summer, you could still apply for a KV Foundation scholarship. And I would encourage everyone to fill out the KV scholarship. It's super easy. She's asking you to write a little more on the application to help get to know you a little bit better. But it's something that we didn't have the foundation when I first started working for KV. And since the foundation's inception, it's amazing what they've been able to do to help support students that, you know, to help them not take out as much loan money, to help them with things that, you know, were over and above, you know, scrubs, materials for their program, a variety of things. It's just been wonderful. So I would encourage you to do that as well. When you apply for in October, you're applying for the next academic year of 2021-2022. And it'll be basing off of your 2019 tax return is the difference there. I think I answered that more complicated than I needed to. I hope that
No, it was
helped.
perfect. Thank you.